Psalm 55, and we're going to start today, and hopefully we have a few real nice ones here today. And I'm just going to go right to the text that I start dividing with. Give ear to my prayer, Creator, and do not hide yourself from my supplication. Supplication is a petition. A petition is to ask our Creator for something. They're pretty much identical words here, so we don't need to, don't need to have that word meaning two different things and yet saying only the same thing. Give heed to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I am surely distracted because of the voice of my enemy, because of the pressure of the wicked. For they bring down trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling have come upon me, and the horror has overwhelmed me. And I said, oh, that if I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and be at rest. Behold, I will wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. I would hasten to my place of refuge. I would hasten to my place of refuge. From the stormy wind and tempest. Confuse YHVH. Divide their tongues. For I have seen violence and strife in our cities, day and night. Okay. They go upon her walls. Now that's Jerusalem is the only city that I know that had walls, and that would have been way later. Remember, Solomon had started building the walls around Jerusalem. Rehoboam went to Shechem, which is, there's a limestone quarry there, and the workers were complaining about the work that they were still doing was heavy, and therefore they rebelled. So at a certain time it slowed down or stopped, then was rebuilt, but I don't know when you could actually say the walls were built until later. I know a king was said to put towers on the corners and put weapons that they had designed to repel invaders, that everybody was not aware of those new type of weapons. So day and night they go around, not upon our wall, around our walls. Iniquity and mischief are in our midst. Destruction and deceit is not to depart from our streets. For it is not an enemy who reproaches me, then I could bear it. Nor is it one who hates me, who is also against me. Then I could hide myself from him, but as you, a male, my equal, my companion, my well, I guess it would divide somewhere like that. Companion, familiar friend, man and equal. Who had we had that sweet fellowship. We had fellowship together. We had fellowship together. For together we walked in the house of our. That's just not. That doth come deceitfully upon them. Let them go down alive into Sheol, for evil is in them their dwelling and in their midst. For me I call upon my Creator, and YHVH will save me. Morning and evening and at noon I complain and murmur, and he heard my voice. He will redeem my soul in peace from battle. He will redeem my soul. He can't. He will redeem me from battle, which is against me. For against me are many. Will hear and answer them. Even the one who sits enthroned from old. Now, what does that mean? Because that just doesn't make sense. From whom there is no change, and who do not fear Creator. He has put forth his hand against those. He has put forth his hand against those who were at peace with him. He has violated his covenant. His speech is smoother than butter, but his heart was war. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden upon YHVH, and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken, but you, Creator, will bring them down to the pit of destruction. Men of bloodshed and deceit will not live out half their days. Men of blood and deceit will not live out half their days, but I trust in you. Now it changed in there when I was reading that. I don't know if you understood that, but I did. I'm going to try to see if I can stick these group them together here. Give ear to my prayer, Creator, Do not hide yourself from my petition. My petitions. Asking for more than one thing. Give heed to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint. I am surely distracted because the voice of my enemy, because the pressures of the wicked, for they bring down trouble on me. In anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling have come upon me. Well, I'm reading down here, and it's kind of like this. But this one would be removed. I would hasten to my place of refuge from the stormy wind temptations. Confuse YV, divide their tongue. Maybe it's like that. And this would be gone. Maybe someplace else. Confuse them. I'd have to, I would say have to put them into confusion, but, and divide their tongues. For I have seen violence and strife in our cities. Well, I'm seeing this, but I'm not sure if they're actually okay. No, then it would be this one here, and then it goes like this, and then maybe like that. And that's what I was coming to here. But anyways, I'll get back to that. Let death upon me, alive and shield, for evil is as I call upon my Creator. This subject changes here. Evening and morning and noon I will complain and murmur, and he will hear my voice, and redeem my soul from battle. Against me, for they are many who strive with me. That would be the one that's out, unless it goes with the one above. Will hear and answer them, even the one who sits enthroned from old. Hear and answer them, with whom there is no change. Hear and answer them. I'm not sure what's going on here. Who did not put fear as he has put forth with him? And who did not fear our Creator? Because I'm seeing this has put forth his hand against those who were at peace with him. Now see, this is what was confusing me, because you can't violate our Creator's covenant unless you've turned away from him. So those who were at peace with him, but they had violated his covenant. His speech was smoother than butter, but his heart was for war. His words were swifter than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden upon YV, and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous. This needs to be taken out. And this, but that just divides, so I can't hook the four together in my head here. I have to see it. But you, Creator, will bring them down to the. But you, Creator, will bring them down to a pit of destruction. For men of bloodshed and deceit will not live out half their days. But I trust in you. Now continue. I cast my burdens. I place my burdens before you, YV. Not to be shaken. This. I cast this burden upon YV, for he will never allow his righteous to be shaken. I'm not sure. I don't like the way that's cut. I like it the other way. But the Creator will bring them down and put to a pit of destruction. Men and bloodshed will not live out half their days, but I trust in you. Yeah, I see it cut better here. And I don't see it being able to hook up here. Okay. Let me see if I can get a feel for the writer here. And I would start by saying, listen to my prayer. Listen to my prayers. Listen to my words. And prayers are words, so this is, listen to my words, my Creator. Do not hide yourself. Do not hide yourself from my petitions. Give heed to me. Give heed. Okay, maybe I gotta turn on the computer here and just take a quick look. And this one's 55. Okay, I haven't had the computer on for a while. Oh, that's right, a lot of them were no good here. Okay, 55. Actually, it's used as the word listen 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. Give attention. Give your attention to me. It is give heed 10 times, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. So they're almost at the same equalness, but pay attention is 11 times, is 12 times 2. Give attention is 4 times. Give your attention to me and answer me. I think it's better than heed. Give your, because you are calling our creator, so give your attention to me and answer me, for I am restless and complaining. I'm restless by my complaint. Listen to my words, my Creator. Do not hide yourself from my petitions. Give your attention to me and answer me, for I am restless. Not in my complaint, that I am restless because of my complaint. And I might even add the word to you at the end of that. My complaints. Their petitions, they would be complaints. I am restless because of my complaining. What is complaints? Let's see what, maybe that's the problem here. My concerns. But concern is only used once. Complaint is used 9 times. Talk, occupied. Because I'm restless. Because of my complaints. Maybe no S. Just let that go. And am surely. I am restless because of my complaints and am surely distracted because the voice. I am restless because of my complaints. I am surely distracted because the voice of my enemy, the words of my enemy. The voice or the sounds of my enemy, because the pressure of the wicked. Now this would almost like a king is complaining that our creator is not listening to him, and there's, because the voice of my enemy, because the sound of my enemy is coming, and because the pressure of the wicked, that would be those among him, for they bring trouble upon me. This would be why I'm trying to figure out the word distracted. I'm surely distracted because of the sound of my, not the voice of my enemy, unless they've been approached and have somebody come and talk to him, and because the pressure of our wicked. I would say our wicked here, because we're going to be talking about them later. At least that's the way I was reading it the first time. I think they. For I am restless because of my complaints. I am restless in my complaints. I'm restless and am complaining. That's why he's making I am restless and I am complaining. How is it complaining? Well, it's used once as the word complaining. Let me try that word. Complaining. And then I am restless and now complaining. I just didn't like the word in. I am restless. I am restless and now I am complaining. I am restless and now complaining. And now complaining. Because the way it's these words, I didn't like the way this one was said. So now, because once I grab a hold of the first four and work that out, or any four, I guess, and really understand, and then I go through here that or go and keep following, it really helps me to go through the rest of these. So pretty much is all this reasoning out and thinking going on. I am surely distracted because I am I could make this one verse. These two are one, and then then I bring this one verse. The horror has overwhelmed me. I don't think that's really true, though. He's, surely here. I might be spending too much time here. Noisy, resounded, stirred, distracted, throw, and uproar, all used one time. Each of those words for surely. Oh no, surely distracted is one. This is that double word where they're using two different words for the one word being used. I am surely distracted because the voice of mine, because the pressure of our wicked, for they bring trouble upon me. And they bring trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling have come to me. Now that's a good capture of two. So, but the 4 verse does seem to really work here, and I say, if I said, this is almost like I can see him thinking, wanting to leave the situation behind. But how can I come back here and pick this up? If he's wanting to leave, tremble and come, fear coming upon me. But if I continue here, if I do this, I'm seeing that go someplace else. Because that just, it might go down at the bottom, I don't know, but I don't think so. What I'm thinking here is that this text is too far away from the situation. It just is. Because if fear is coming upon me, I can see him wanting to flee. But if I do this and those two connect and those all work together, well, that just might be right then. Let me see something here. If I put all this back, and do this, fear and trembling have come upon me. I have to start up and then read again. But if I said, I'm trying to fit this in. Fear and trembling have come upon me. If I said, if I had wings, yeah, because if he doesn't, because he is writing, he would be saying this, so it's not like I need the word said. It's almost like this doesn't need to be there. If I had wings like a dove, come, and then it would be introducing like this. Fear and tremblings have come upon me. If I had wings like a dove, I would fly away to be at rest. I would rather wander far away. I would wander far away and lodge in the wilderness. And not lodge, hide in the wilderness. Sometimes that word is very disturbing because it talks about a wilderness being a desert. Yeah, it's used, this time it's meaning forest. The forest type of thing. But it is used as wilderness 257 times. So you have to understand it. Live in the wild. Would rather, but what about lodge? Sleep there. Well, not really. It is used as lodge more than the most. Spend the night 21 times. So I guess I would wander far away and lodge in the wilderness, and then do this, but not need this. In the wilderness, I would hasten to my place of refuge. From there, he's leaving them, and so maybe these words don't belong here. There's stormy winds, because he talked about voices only. So this is gotten rid of. Now confuse them. Now confuse them for me. Yeah, I think now, whoops. Now confuse them. I would add for me, because that's for me, because you're requesting or asking, you're petitioning. Now confuse them, YV4. Now confuse them, YV. For me, confuse them. Now for me, confuse them, YV. Maybe it needs to be put here. Now for me, confuse them, YV. Divide their tongues would mean making them argue among themselves. I don't think this will, I think this is the verse that comes out. Let's make sure an Israeli would be writing it by knowing the difference that daylight and night are a day, and not day and night as they're two separate. In our cities, I would put our cities here. Day and night, they go around the walls. This is now a king in Jerusalem and at a different time, and this has to be way after David, so this is, and iniquity and mischief are in my midst, but that's already been said. Destruction is in the midst of oppression, and deceit do not depart. Their deceit, meaning that they're grumbling against him. Now wait a second. What king was that? I just thought of a, that's not in Jerusalem. This is a fortified place, and this is not a, this king, I just happened to think of a king. I gotta get his, I gotta put it in my head where, oh, I'm in the wrong, there. Now let me, I need to look this over for a second. There was a king in Israel here that was fighting, and they tried to starve him out. And because to find that story, I know that there's, he's all of a sudden sees two women arguing, and they're talking about eating one's child so he has some food, although I doubt that's true, but that just reminds me of the story that he's being surrounded, and I would say it's this king here, and he would be in Samaria, or the city Samaria. Now, for those of you who don't know where that is at, let me pull that up. That would be up in here, okay? Because the story, there's a real good story that places this city here historically, and it is a fortress. It's fortified. I think I now have this story where it's at. Yeah, I guess I can tell you what's really Jehu. Let me go back to here. Jehu was, whoops, no, I messed up. Sorry about that. I will try to get the plus sign here, and I went to the arrows. Now, I believe it was this king here that was in battle. Yes. Let me grab the maps to, because now I'm really honed in on this. Yeah, this is a better map anyway. What happens is Jehu is coming back from a battle that they're trying to prevent them from coming down, and this king is in Samara, and he's waiting for word for from the battle front. Okay, so let me put this into a map now for you. Joram. Okay. Now, what was happening is that here, see this, I got this dot as Samara, as the city. Now, somehow they were across the river over here, okay? Or over here, there's a city, Rama, I think it is, that is over here that they were defending, so Damascus wasn't coming down and taking this. Because this was Aram, I guess, taken over. Not so much Damascus, they were calling themselves Aram at this time. And they were trying to take this on. Well, they were over there battling. But Jehu is anointed king, and his commanders, and they come riding. And the story is that the king sends out messengers to see if it's they've got peace, because I guess the guy in the tower watching the road sees a group of people riding and announces it, that he sees the one that riding, that is riding is like Jehu. Okay, now Jehu. Anyways, he says, so the king gets excited and he sends them out, and then when they meet, the guy in the tower is saying, hey, they met, but he's not coming back with news to you, like rushing the news to you. So the king gets together, and then he wants to go out and meet him. Now, to me, when I was reading it, I'm thinking, how can this guy in the tower see all this? And what's beautiful about this is because when you start seeing that this brown road that I've got here, right here, this has to be a ridge, and it has to be very high, and it has to be somewhere along here that they have to ride around this road, come back and forth. But he can see this road, so you could see that he could spot him here, coming here, sent messengers out to him, and make all that happen only if Samara is located here. Only if it's located here. It makes no other sense anywhere on this map that the tower is high enough from this fortified city to see them. So when you look on your maps or Google search maps, you will not find Samara here, but the story says this is where Samara is truly located. That is unique. And now that I'm remembering this, it is not that king. It would be a different king later living here, and the battles are starting to come to him, and they're surrounding him. Okay, just for your information, of what I'm thinking here is what this text is coming to. And I'm not sure which king. I would have to look it up, but this here we now can place, let me see, we can place, definitely, I'm thinking a couple hundred years after David, because David is way up here, okay? And then there's 60 years for Solomon, and then all these years here are added up. So it must be this king here. I'm thinking, because I'm only thinking a good king would be the one to be writing. So yeah, we're looking at almost 200 years. 60. Yeah, somewhere in there. Maybe just 180, but you got the idea. Now that I understand where this text is coming from, this king I also know was, when he heard those two women complain, he took off his robe, and underneath his robe he was wearing sackcloth, or to be walking about and humble. But when he was out in front of his people, he put on a robe, and the people understood that he was talking, or he was being humble before our Creator for to seek his help. This is definitely his words here. I'm pretty sure that this is 46 minutes. Oh man, this is, yeah, this is his text, and I am sure of it now. I can place this. I just was trying to fit this situation, and I know these stories, and I'm glad to share them with you to help to point out. I know I needed extras to bring in, and I'm not all sure of them, but I'm sure of the story. So now I can see why he would want to leave all this, and I can see them complaining about him. I mean, they're being starved by being surrounded. I have seen violence and strife in the city. No, that isn't. Um, uh, and he was walking along the wall. So this is a fortified city. Um, I got to make myself a note. Samara? Samara? Did I spell that right? And I'm just going to say, let's see, women and food. Starving. Now that's just to help me remember when, because I'm doing a few of these at a time and trying to post them, but that note I will make sure follows through with the rest of the text. But let's go, now that I've got the story and got the place, I think that's the second one now that, or third one now that I've done that confused me, and then all of a sudden it snaps, and it's kind of like, okay, I understand the plea and what's going on, to be able to, because like this here, destruction is coming upon them. Destruction, they're in the midst of being oppressed, so destruction is not here yet, okay? So I know that the word destruction needs to be gone. But 4 verse, and down here, and I would get rid of something like that. Evil is in their in their midst. That just doesn't make sense anyway. Let death come deceitfully upon them. Let them go down alive into the abyss. I'd put abyss there. As for me, I will call upon our Creator, and YV will save us. Save us. And actually, now that I'm thinking, I'm wondering if that story is actually, because there's another story, or maybe it's the continuing of the story, that our Creator does come down, and he doesn't come down, he saves us, because I'm thinking that there's some guys that are trapped, because you got to understand now, the their fortress is surrounded, and you can see that they would surround themselves in the hills and not be out in the open where they can be seen. But there's a fortress here, and there's these guys that are trapped. And what they done was they were debating whether do we go and starve with the rest of them inside there because we're awfully hungry and we're dying out here, or do we go to the enemy and give ourselves up? Well, they go to the enemy and find the camp empty. And this is another one I'd really like archaeologists would get into, is because they said that they noticed that they left in a hurry and they couldn't pick things up, and they were dropping things that they were trying to carry everything and running away. But what was caused this fright that they left that way? But then they went and reported to the king, and then they went and sent people out to see what was going on. And what they done is they went all the way to the river. They said that they could see that these guys were dropping their stuff. So when you look at that, historically, somewhere around this river, I think it would be this side here. So they must have crossed in here to come around to surround them. But somewhere in here, there is I would check the river to find out if there's any old weapons or anything that is in the water. And I would probably go down a mile to check it. But that would be more evidence of the truth of this story. It'd be just something very unique, because historically I can explain the story of how the guy on the tower sees them. So it has to be around this river that they're high on a mountain overlooking or not high on a hill, maybe even a mount that's overlooking this area to see everything. Because the words of the guy in the tower, he is just I'm always visually, when I'm looking at the text, it's visually understanding the story. I will complain and murmur, and he will hear my voice, and he heard my voice and redeemed my soul from battle. And it wouldn't be battle, it would have been because they didn't go to battle. But I would change that word. This verse here makes no sense. Okay. I would like to see a Christian explain that. Because I know that just that's not truthful, but they'll come up with all kinds of things. It's funny to watch people on the internet when I discuss some of these things. I know I go to quite a few what would I say they are, other people's channels, and they'll speak about something, and I'll go in and I'll put down a question or two, and people will answer, and then I will say, well, what about this? And then they don't want to talk to me no more, because or they just try to make up the weirdest answer that you'd ever see, instead of just being righteous and say, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know if this would be in or not. Anyways, these four are hooking. Those four are hooking. Now, in fact, this almost sounds like it's a text that's starting to separate here. By my complaint and murmuring, he heard our voice. He redeemed our lives from the oppression, for they were against us, for there were many anyways, but, and then this starts something new here, because this here, the king never came to him, because I'm knowing the story now. There's only a few times that these things ever happen, so it's kind of like you can't say this is, oh, it has to because this other king did this. Well, you have to understand they were the story that I just mentioned tells me that this is not. See, this is this here and then this here all say that these are different from a different text. So, okay, let me see if I can do this in the next 10 minutes and see what's going on here. We'll hear and answer them with whom there is no change. And who do not fear, and who does not fear. And who does not fear. I'm going to put our creator, it could be their creator, has put forth his hands against us who were at peace. So this would be one being challenged by another. We're at peace with him. Now he has violated his covenant. So, and that means he betrayed our creator. Now this would be Jeroboam then, the time of Jeroboam, okay? Because this is when they did have a battle, or not a battle, but they came together, I think it was in Bethel, where Judah come across the border, come across into Israel. The kingdom of Judah went into the kingdom of Israel, and they started blockading Bethel as to take it over. And then, but this is the only one who violated his covenant, which means his promises, was that he went on to another god. And as a king, he would have been the first one to do that, okay? So that's where I'm, but that doesn't describe Jehu or Jeroboam at all. That could be just text put in. See, that's just, yeah, these are, I'm going to call them pieces, because this here is not hooking to either one. Bring them down to the pit of destruction is the pit of destruction, pit of emptiness is not destruction. The word abyss is the word abyss for a reason. Their days. Yeah, I'm not really. Okay, this one might go someplace else. This one here, yeah, might go someplace else. But this here, whom there is no change, that doesn't make sense. So this is out. And I'm going to remove my added words here, or editing, but I'm going to get rid of all this and just say that, yes, it could possibly be someplace else. But here, control copy, come up here, let's see. Whoops. Whoops. Want to do that one, then this one. And then let's get down here. But this one, yes, I can understand his writing here. Yeah, I didn't clean this up here. I gotta clean that one up, but no, I might have moved too fast because this here, okay, this would be the people coming after him. Nora's the one who hates me. And this didn't happen. Okay, now I'm seeing that oh man, I didn't want to make this into 2 parts, but I think I'm going to. It might be a short part, but this has got to be cleaned up. I can't let this go and be the end of this. And I'm not, it's only, maybe this might be the longest video because I can understand him thinking this, and I could think of this. I understand that. For I've seen, now I see violence in our fortress. For I see and if they're fighting against themselves, you're getting close to starvation. I guess I would put strife and not need violence. For I see the strife or their strife in our the city is wrong. This is fortress. I don't know if that's spelled right. Okay. Another shocking moment. I have seen the strife, maybe not the, for I have seen strife in our fortress. Maybe that verse doesn't hook. Let me daylight and night, I go around the walls. Not they, but he does. He was on the wall when he looked down and seen the women arguing. Okay, you don't know, sir, I do. I walk around on the walls, tied with a fortress. As whoops, I need as here. And then not this verse, and then this verse. For I see the strife in our fortress as I go around, as I walk around on the walls. Got it? Okay, I gotta make it into 2 parts. This is killing me, but I'm going to continue there in a moment. So for you, it'll just be the next video.